Having made her debut as one of the original Vault Hunters back in 2009, Lilith has become one of the most relevant and important characters to the universe of Borderlands, and so, let me go through and give you the history of Lilith so far. So because Lilith's background and history remain largely untouched upon in the core series of games, I'm actually going to open this up with the Borderlands Origins series of comics released in late 2012, as they remain the only source of background regarding our main group of Vault Hunters. In this case, we're only going to touch upon Lilith. She was born on the planet of Dionysus. In this comic, she was not born as one of the Sirens. In fact, the comic begins with the events of how she obtained her powers in the first place. When her father mysteriously falls to the ground about to meet his death, moments before he dies, he tells Lilith to explore the galaxy. Shortly after, a woman referring to herself as the eldest approaches her to tell her all about sirens and the future she's destined for. After Lilith obtains her signature siren tattoos, the eldest collapses, dying as well. The comic then cuts to Lilith as an adult, as she's been searching the galaxy as her father asked. She eventually made her way to Pandora. She's heard tales about the world, and so she's come there as it's a place filled with opportunity. After a small encounter at the bar, Marcus walks in greeting her, and she boards his bus in search of this opportunity. And this is in theory where the first Borderlands game comes in. Whether or not you choose to believe the Origins comic remains canon, the simple fact is that Lilith met Roland, Mordecai, and Brick on Marcus's bus, as they all have the common goal of opening Pandora's vault and claiming its treasures. On the bus, Angel, being persuaded by Handsome Jack, contacts them as Jack wants to get his hands on the warrior within the vault. But not sure what is really happening, they choose to follow Angel's guidance. Being newcomers to the planet, each of them are casually put through the standard introduction new Vault Hunters get thanks to the Doll Corporation. The Claptrap unit designated to the area sets them up with what they need, however they get quickly interrupted by local bandits. The bandits begin terrorizing the town of Firestone, however the new Vault Hunters help save its only remaining resident, Dr. Zed. Lilith and the others begin helping some of the locals, forming bonds and building trust. One way of doing this involved getting rid of the bandits who terrorized the area. More particularly, the Bandit Lords. These involved the likes of Nine Toes, Bonehead, and most importantly, Sledge, who was holding a piece of the vault key. Angel spends the rest of the game guiding Lilith and the others around Pandora, building the key, meeting new residents like Patricia Tanis and Scooter, and going against their opposition, Commandant Steele. Anyway, eventually, after making their way to the vault, the Destroyer's feeding cage is opened and kills Steele and her forces. Roland, Lilith, Mordecai, and Brick manage to kill this portion of the Destroyer's body, and the group leave off feeling like heroes. While they didn't obtain the ultimate treasure as they intended, their motivations slowly changed into more virtuous ones. They took a liking to the residents of Pandora and made enemies with the mega corporations trying to do it harm. Atlas was one of the more recent ones. When reached out by the assassin Athena, everyone helped her kill the corporation's last General Knox, ridding the planet of Atlas completely. Lilith and everyone also took part in Moxie's Underdome Coliseum, but Lilith was not the victor. With her main goal pretty much done, Lilith and Roland began dating. As a sort of reward to themselves for having saved Pandora, the two vacationed off to the moon Elpis to get away from the crazy life of the planet. However, their vacation would be short-lived. Jack had gotten into trouble of his very own against Colonel Zarpedon, who wishes to destroy Elpis and its vault so no one can get their hands on it. Because of this, Jack asks his ex-girlfriend Moxie for help, who then points them into the direction of Lilith and Roland. While unknowing that Jack had used Angel to manipulate them back on Pandora, the two are hesitant to help to begin with. But after learning the magnitude of the situation, they feel obligated to help save the residents of Elpis. While they help Jack and his group of Vault Hunters, it doesn't take long for them to see how crazy and unstable he is. After Lilith and Roland watch him jettison various scientists out of an airlock, Lilith immediately wants to stop helping and stop him. But instead, while Roland feels the same, he continues to pretend to be on Jack's side.
Sounds like a plan.
Roland, he just murdered...
Sounds like a plan. We'll see you when you get back.
This whole ruse Roland convinces Lilith to play along with is to destroy the giant laser Jack intends on using, which just so happens to be the eye of the destroyer the group had killed. When they make contact with the laser, the group destroy the eye of Helios and officially make an enemy out of Jack. With nothing stopping her anymore, Lilith is free to pursue him. However, the next time she is capable of doing this is after Jack has already opened the vault and seen visions of the future and what he needs to do to take over Pandora. During this, Lilith teleports in and smashes the vault key into Jack's face, branding him and changing his identity to Handsome Jack. After this event, everyone pretty much returned back to Pandora, and Hyperion, having been taken over by Jack, begins attacking the planet and trying to kill everyone who resides on it. Because of this, she and Roland began forming a group of soldiers to fight back against Hyperion. Made up of leftover Atlas soldiers and former Crimson Lance, Lilith and Roland founded the Crimson Raiders, whose main goal is set on protecting Pandora. Lilith's powers also began increasing because she started consuming iridium. After the Destroyer's vault was opened, the purple element broke its way through to the surface, and being a siren, Lilith is capable of consuming it for more power and strength. However, their defense of Pandora would come with many losses, one of which is the downfall of New Haven. Jack sends Wilhelm down to the town, and while Lilith and the others attempt to protect it, they fail and New Haven falls. Hyperion, however, would believe to have killed Lilith and thus believes she is no longer a threat. Events like this would continuously occur until the group are forced to an old doll sanctuary named Sanctuary. Many residents are moved here, and thanks to the bonds that they've formed throughout their journey, they convince others like Moxie, Scooter, Marcus, Zed, and many others to move for their safety. But because the importance of the Crimson Raiders is getting more and more demanding, Roland breaks up with Lilith to focus more on Hyperion. This doesn't inherently leave any bad blood between them, but Lilith does decide to not be around him and instead chooses to aid the Crimson Raiders in a different way. While Hyperion is the major threat, bandits still prove to be a nuisance, and so Lilith adopts the alias of Firehawk and lures them away from Sanctuary. Plus, thinking she's dead, Hyperion won't search for her. And this is where the events of Borderlands 2 take place. Lilith has been off on her own holding back the Bloodshot bandits, so when Roland gets kidnapped by other Bloodshot bandits, Lilith summons the group of Vault Hunters to her side to fill her in on what's been going on. Without a leader, Lilith takes command of the Crimson Raiders for the time being until Roland inevitably returns. While she continues to assist in the takedown of Wilhelm, when Sanctuary's shields become compromised, Lilith consumes a large amount of iridium to phase walk the whole of Sanctuary out of Hyperion's targeting system and to safety. But this action informed Hyperion that Lilith was still alive. The next event Lilith plays a significant role in is when the Vault Hunters make their way to Angel herself, as she is in possession of the Vault Key. Angel pleads with Lilith not to come, as Jack is desperate for sirens and their power, but despite her asking, as well as Roland's insistence that she stay behind, she shows up anyway to help take down Angel and retrieve the Vault Key. She is successful in this, however, as everyone is celebrating, Roland is killed right next to her, and Jack restrains her power, placing her under his command. Before she is forced to kill the Vault Hunters, she teleports them away and to safety. Meanwhile, Jack would begin using her as his new battery to charge the Vault Key. As revenge for killing his daughter, Jack tortures Lilith as the iridium he's pumping her full of regenerates her body. Jack would wind up fully charging the Vault Key, awakening the warrior, and Lilith is left to the wayside while the Vault Hunters deal with the threat. After the warrior is killed, Lilith then kills Jack with her own hands. With Hyperion no longer a threat, Pandora's key revealed all the various vaults still scattered around the galaxy. And this proved to be the motivation for the Crimson Raiders. Without Roland alive, however, everyone turned to Lilith for guidance and leadership. However, she initially rejected those expectations. She, alongside Brick and Mordecai, would collectively be the ones in charge of helping track down vaults. One job, however, came by their way. A woman by the name of Valerie has had a run-in with Athena, whom the group had initially helped take down Nox, and Lilith having seen her assist Jack when she was on Elpis. So Lilith sends Brick and Mordecai out to detain her, which they successfully do. Athena is drugged to Sanctuary, tied up, and held at gunpoint, forced to recount her interactions with Jack and answer why she helped him. After the story is finished, Lilith refuses to forgive her and orders her execution. However, an ancient Iridian guardian appears, saving her life and heeding Lilith a warning that war is coming. She releases Athena and everyone returns back to vault hunting. However, things are forced to change during the Commander Lilith and the Fight for Sanctuary DLC. An old doll worker named Colonel Hector has become infected and mutated, and he believes he can change Pandora by infecting everyone on it. Being an old doll facility, he leads an attack on Sanctuary, and due to its lack of leadership, they can't fend them off and are forced to retreat. Throughout this DLC, Lilith learns to accept leadership and that she has to be the one to protect and guide her compatriots. By the end of the DLC, Lilith consumes all of Crazy Earl's iridium and uses that power to destroy Sanctuary, while simultaneously losing the vault key. She then officially takes leadership and begins to use their resources to find the missing vault key. However, it wouldn't take long for a new threat to arrive to Pandora. And thus we get to the events of Borderlands 3. The children of the vault, led by the Calypso twins, are seeking to open Pandora itself, as the planet as a whole is a vault. And so the Crimson Raiders, still on their goal to protect the planet, work to fight off the children of the vault. For the most part, this would result in a stalemate between the two groups, each recruiting and growing their numbers as time went on. But that would change when 4 new Vault Hunters are recruited to the Raiders. Lilith sends them off to retrieve the vault key from Vaughn, whose bandit clan had obtained it. However, they betrayed him and offered it to the Calypsos for loot. Lilith is responsible for sending you out to obtain it, and when returned, she herself is incapable of using her siren powers to charge it to view the map, and thus she sends you off to meet with Tannis, as she, having become a siren after Angel's death, is capable of charging it. After grouping up to discuss where the next vault they should go to is, Lilith heads off to collect all of her other comrades to board the spaceship Ellie has been building in between the events of the game. However, before she can board the new Sanctuary, the Calypso twins show up and Tyreen leeches Lilith's powers away from her, ridding her of her Firehawk powers. No longer being a siren, Lilith is forced to sit on the sidelines and guide the Crimson Raiders from an outside perspective. And this is pretty much where the rest of Borderlands 3 plays out. Lilith's main contributions are telling the Vault Hunters where to go to hopefully cut Tyreen and Troy off in their pursuit for power. It isn't until the very end of the game where the Vault Hunters kill Tyreen, who had consumed the Destroyer. With Tyreen dead, Lilith's powers return back to her. But this reunion is short-lived. Considering Pandora itself was the vault holding in the Destroyer, when the moon, which is the key to the planet, entered the planet's gravitational pull, the world started to split and break. So to stop the moon from fully opening the vault, Lilith, with the power and energy Tyreen had previously consumed now part of her, she uses her Firehawk ability and phase walks into the moon, stopping it and thus saving Pandora from its destruction. The symbol of the Firehawk then leaves its mark on the moon for all of Pandora to see. And for now, that is where Lilith left off. Many believe she's dead, while others believe she's just missing. The fate of Lilith and what happened to her is a question that will have to be answered in a later date. Another fun fact about Lilith is that during Tiny Tina's DLC, the only semblance of a hint as to Lilith's childhood from the video game perspective is given. Apparently, she used to get made fun of because of her siren tattoos, as well as because she used to play bunkers and badasses.
Look, when I was a kid, boys mocked me for 2 reasons: my tattoos and bunkers and badasses. I suffered for my geekiness. You don't get to invade my culture just because it's cool right now.
So Lilith does consider herself a geek in some regards. But for now, that was the history of Lilith. If there are any other characters you'd like me to do the history of, then be sure to let me know in the comments below, and for now, I'll see you in the next video.